The movie kicks off with a man named Dom Cobb washed up on a shore, barely conscious and exhausted beyond belief. Through blurry eyes, he spots two kids playing in the sand, and then blacks out again. Moments later, an armed guard finds him and drags him into a massive mansion owned by an elderly Japanese businessman. The old man offers Cobb food and tells him he looks like someone he once met in a dream, half remembered, half forgotten. Okay, old man, chill. The film then jumps to another scene where we see Cobb with his partner, Arthur. These two are professional extractors, experts in using experimental dream-sharing technology to sneak into people's subconscious minds and steal information. Big corporations hire them to swipe top-secret intel from their rivals. Their newest target is a businessman named Saito. Cobb and Arthur explain how dream-share tech has made private thoughts vulnerable to theft, and they offer to help protect Saito's mind. Saito acts unimpressed and walks away. Later, Cobb and Arthur head to a crowded gathering. They talk quietly about the job, specifically Saito's secret safe, which contains expansion plans they need to steal for their client, Cobb Engineering. Suddenly, Cobb spots someone who shakes him, his ex-wife Mal. He approaches her, and she asks if he still misses her. Cobb admits he can't trust her anymore. They move to a private room, where Cobb rigs a chair with a rope and lowers himself out the window to reach the room below. He tells Mal to stay seated, but she betrays him, triggering a near disaster. Even so, Cobb manages to reach the lower room and swap out the contents of Saito's safe. But his victory is short-lived. Both Saito and Mal catch him, and Arthur is already their hostage. It's revealed that all three men, Cobb, Arthur, and Saito, are connected to a portable somnus infusion device, which keeps them sedated so they can dream share. Their real bodies are upstairs, watched by Cobb's partner Nash. Inside the dream, Cobb shoots Arthur to wake him up. Meanwhile, Arthur tells Nash to wake Cobb. Nash tries shaking him, but finally pushes him into a bathtub full of water, which sends a flood crashing into Cobb's dream and wakes him up instantly. As Saito's dream mansion collapses, everyone snaps awake in the apartment, except Saito is the first to realize something terrifying. They're still dreaming. This is a dream within a dream. In reality, Cobb, Arthur, Nash, and Saito are sleeping on a train, watched over by a teenage boy named Tadashi, who monitors the timer on their sedation device. Eventually, Cobb, Arthur, and Nash wake up and exit the train, with Saito following later. That night, Cobb gets a call from his kids. They're staying with their grandmother because, legally, Cobb can't return home. The kids ask when he'll come back. Cobb lies, saying he's busy with work, and promises to send gifts. Their grandmother ends the call abruptly. Arthur arrives and warns Cobb they need to flee. Cobb Engineering is furious about the failed job, but before they can run, Saito shows up with Nash captured. This time, Saito isn't here to punish Cobb, he's here to hire him. Saito was impressed by Cobb's ability to build layered dreams. He offers Cobb a job, but not extraction, something far more dangerous, Inception. Instead of stealing an idea, Cobb must plant one. The target is Robert Fisher, son of Saito's dying competitor, Maurice Fisher. Cobb needs to implant the idea that Robert should dismantle his father's massive company. In return, Saito promises Cobb something priceless. He'll erase Cobb's criminal record so he can finally go home to his children. Desperate, Cobb immediately agrees. Cobb and Arthur travel to Paris to recruit a team. Cobb visits his father-in-law, Miles, a university professor who once taught him and Mal everything about dream architecture. Cobb asks for the best student he has, and Miles introduces Ariadne. Cobb teaches her the basics of dream design, totems, personal objects that distinguish dreams from reality, kicks sharp motions that wake dreamers, and the dangers of dream manipulation. Ariadne quickly proves talented, but Cobb refuses to design dreams himself. Mal's projection always sabotages him. Next, Cobb flies to Mombasa to recruit his old friend Eames, a master forger who can impersonate people inside dreams. But as soon as they meet, Eames warns that dangerous men are chasing Cobb agents who want his head. Chaotic chase erupts through the tight streets of Mombasa. Cobb barely escapes when Saito arrives in a car, scoops him up, and drives away. Eames then introduces the group to Yusuf, a chemist specializing in powerful sedatives. After some convincing, Yusuf agrees to join the mission. Meanwhile, Arthur takes Ariadne into another dream to teach her advanced techniques, like constructing paradoxes, for example, the Penrose steps. He also reveals the truth. Mal is dead. Her presence in the dreams is only a projection of Cobb's guilt. Cobb and the team begin planning a 3-layered dream where the innermost level will contain the Inception idea. Totems also become crucial. Cobb's totem is a spinning top that falls in real life but spins forever in dreams. Ariadne creates her own, a hollow bishop chess piece, to maximize dream time. They decide to conduct the mission on a long-haul international flight, Europe to America. One night, Ariadne notices Cobb connected to the dream device alone. Curious, she enters his dream. She finds herself in an elevator traveling through floors representing Cobb's memories. On the lowest level, she finds Mal waiting, dark, angry, unpredictable. Mal attacks her, but Cobb intervenes just in time. When they wake up, Cobb finally admits why he can't go home: Mal's death. The authorities believe he killed her. Just then, Arthur and Saito arrive with news. Maurice Fisher has died. His son Robert will accompany the body back to America in a few days. Perfect timing. A few days later, the team boards the flight. They sit near Robert Fisher in first class. Cobb subtly spikes his drink with Yusuf's sedative. Their shared three-layered dream begins. In the first dream layer, a gritty urban cityscape, the team kidnaps Robert Fisher. But there, met with something none of them expected. Robert's subconscious is armed to the teeth. His mind has been trained by professionals, so armed projections immediately attack them. Saito is shot multiple times, and the group barely escapes to their hideout. That's when Cobb realizes the problem. Robert's subconscious has been militarized against Seeing Saito bleeding out, Eames suggests putting him out of his misery so he wakes up in the real world. But Yusuf's sedative is too strong. If anyone dies in this dream, they don't wake up, they fall straight into limbo, endless subconscious freefall. So the team pushes forward. Eames impersonates Robert's godfather Peter Browning and plants a fake will to convince Robert that his father wanted him to build something of his own, not cling to his massive empire. Meanwhile, Ariadne confronts Cobb about why he can't control his subconscious. Cobb finally opens up, revealing what he's been hiding. He and Mal once went too deep during dream experiments. They spent almost 50 years together in limbo, building cities, creating a world of their own, forgetting reality. When it was time to wake up, Mal refused. She believed limbo was real, so Cobb performed Inception on his own wife, planting the idea that the world wasn't real, so she'd agreed to return. But back in reality, the idea stayed. She became convinced that life was still a dream, and the only way to wake up was to die. On their anniversary, she killed herself and framed Cobb for her death, forcing him to flee his home and leave his children behind. Because Fisher's projections are closing in, the team moves Robert into the van and sedates him again, entering Arthur's dream. The second layer, a luxurious hotel. Here, Cobb pretends to be Robert's subconscious protector, warning him his mind is under attack. He convinces Robert that Peter Browning is behind the kidnapping and that the only way to learn the truth is to enter Browning's dream. Robert agrees, unknowingly walking deeper into the trap. With that, the team dives into the third layer, a snowy military fortress hidden in the mountains. Arthur stays behind in the hotel to coordinate the synchronized kicks. In the third layer, Eames prepares explosives while Cobb and Ariadne cover him. Robert and Saito climb to the fortress entrance. Meanwhile, in the real van, Yusuf is fighting off projections as he races toward a bridge. Cornered with no choice, he blasts music, a warning, and drives the van off the bridge. As the van falls in slow motion, gravity disappears in the second layer. Arthur now has to create a kick without gravity, while time ticks away. In the snow fortress, only 1 hour remains. Ariadne explains the fastest route into the safe, and the team pushes forward. Saito collapses from blood loss, barely conscious as Robert approaches the vault, but then Mal appears. Cobb hesitates, unable to shoot her. She shoots Robert instead. Cobb finally snaps out of it and kills her projection, but it's too late. Robert dies in the dream. Cobb declares the mission a failure, but Ariadne refuses to quit. If Robert died, he's in limbo now. They can still go down there, bring him back, and finish the job. With nothing left to lose, Cobb and Ariadne dive into limbo. Limbo is a decaying version of the city Cobb and Mal built during their decades together. Here, they find Mal waiting. Just like always, she tries to convince Cobb to stay with her, to settle in this world they built. But Cobb admits the truth. He planted the idea in her mind. He broke her. He never forgave himself. Ariadne finds Robert trapped nearby and pushes him off a balcony to give him a kick back into the third dream. Robert wakes up inside the fortress, enters the safe, and sees his sick father on his deathbed, just like Cobb planned. His father tells him to live for himself, completing the Inception. Meanwhile, the van finally hits the water in the first dream, triggering the chain of kicks. Ariadne is pulled upward, climbing back through the dream layers. She calls for Cobb, but he stays behind. He has to find Saito, who died earlier and has fallen deep into limbo. Cobb eventually washes up on a beach. The exact scene from the opening of the movie. Guards drag him to a mansion, where an elderly Saito waits. Cobb reminds him of their deal. Come back so we can return home. The scene cuts, and the dream collapses. Everyone wakes up on the airplane. Saito immediately makes a call. The plane lands, and Cobb nervously approaches customs. The officer checks his passport, pauses, and lets him through. Cobb's father picks him up and takes him home. Inside the house, Cobb spins his totem, the spinning top, to check if it's real or still a dream. But the moment he sees his children, he walks toward them, ignoring the result. He embraces them, the top spins, and we cut to black.
Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe below to watch more movie recaps. Comment below to which movie you like to see recap for next.